Hi guys, I'm Miss Pilgrim and I will be reading The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle, and this is supposed to be a kindergarten / first grade level book. And the reason why I chose this book is because it was actually the first book that I read aloud as a kid to my parents and to just people in general, and so it has a very personal meaning to me. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. And before we get started though, I am dealing with a sinus infection. So if you hear coughing and sniffing, that's what that's for. It's that time in the semester. But anyways, let's do it. The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle. In the light of the moon, a little egg lay on a leaf. So as you can see, we have a picture of a leaf on this page with the moon. It's very pretty, right? What do you think is going to happen next? Do you think that it's going to be daytime, or do you think it's going to stay night? We'll have to find out to see. Ooh, okay, you were right, actually. All right, first grade. So, like y'all were predicting, it is officially daytime. You guys were right. Y'all are so good at making predictions. But one Sunday morning, the warm sun came up and pop! Out of the egg came a tiny and very hungry caterpillar. You see how tiny he is? He looks very sad, doesn't he? Do you think he's going to find happiness when he goes to the sun and tries to find what he needs? Can you guys see that? He started to look for some food. As you can see, the caterpillar is walking, and he is on dirt right now, which you guys were right about that. He did eventually stay on the dirt. Most of you guys were predicting that, and I don't think half of y'all were even realizing it. So, good job, first grade. On Monday, he ate through one apple, but he was still hungry. All right, since he ate the apple, let's pause here. So, since he ate the apple on Monday, that was one day, right? How many do you think that the caterpillar ate the next day? Can you guess? I'll give you a minute to guess. You're right, 2. And that leads into the next part, which is on Tuesday, he ate through on Tuesday, he ate through 2 pears, but he was still hungry. All right, now we're gonna pause here also. But on Tuesday, he ate 2 pears. And since he ate those 2 on Tuesday and it was the second day, what do you think is gonna happen the next day? Predict that in your mind. Don't say it out loud yet. But predict that in your mind, and I'll tell you what that is once we keep reading. I'll give you a minute to do it. Yep. Y'all are so right. On Wednesday, he ate through 3 plums, but he was still hungry. So, that's also a vocabulary word for you guys. So, you guys probably don't know what plums mean, but plums are these purple, kind of round-shaped fruits that are kind of tart, but also not super sweet either. But besides that, most of you guys know what apples and pears and sunshine and dirt and caterpillars, just in case you don't know what caterpillars are. Caterpillars are just these tiny little bug creatures that are about this long. And that's who the main character is in the story. That is going throughout the night, like we were talking about earlier, with the moon and the stars and the leaves and the trees, and you guys know that part, but I just wanted to clarify that just in case you didn't. Back to this part of the book. So, he ate through 3 plums, right? How many Don't say it out loud. How many do you think of a fruit do you think he ate the next day? Let's think about that for a second, and then we'll see what happens, okay? All right. On Thursday, he ate through 4 strawberries, but he was still hungry. All right, since he ate 4 strawberries on Thursday, and that's the 4th day of the week, where do you think this next part's going? And what fruit do you think he's gonna eat? I'll give you a hint. It is different, but I won't tell you what it is. Okay, bananas, that's a good guess. Not quite, but it's a good guess, but I'll tell you what it is in a minute. Okay. All right, someone else said 5 fruits. Yeah, he was right. Johan, you were right. He did, in fact, eat 5 fruits. On Friday, he ate through 5 oranges. On Friday, he ate through 5 oranges, but he was still hungry. Isn't that sad? Before we keep reading, I'm going to pause right here, and I'm going to have you guys think. You can do this individually. You can do this in pairs. Whatever works for you, as if we were in a class situation. But why do you think the caterpillar was still hungry? I personally think it was because he didn't have anything that was good for him. He had the fruits and he had the sugar he needed, but he didn't have like protein and carbs like we do. And so that is what he was lacking, and you could tell in his day-to-day actions. Isn't that sad? Even for a caterpillar. All right, now that they're at the end of the week, well, the end of the school week, which is Friday, you guys know that. On Saturday, what do you guys think he ate? And what do you think is going to happen next? Okay, you think he ate more fruit? Okay. All right, what do you think? You think he got a stomachache? All right, let's have one more person go, and then we'll find out together what happens. Okay, so you think that he just stopped eating? Okay. Those are all good guesses. But I'm going to tell you what really happens next. So, you see all these foods on this page right here? What are these? What are these called? Junk food? Okay, good food? Yeah. I like where you're going with that. On Saturday, he ate through 1 piece of chocolate cake, 1 ice cream cone, 1 pickle, 1 slice of Swiss cheese, 1 slice of salami, 1 lollipop, 1 piece of cherry pie, 1 sausage. Here, I'm going to turn that around so you can see. 1 sausage, 1 cupcake, and 1 slice of watermelon. You see this tiny little caterpillar? Do you think he can eat that? And think about that real quick, okay? That night, he had a stomachache. The next day was, can you guess? Sunday, again. The caterpillar ate 1 nice green leaf, and we talked about what leaves are, so remember that. And after that, he felt much better. He looks happy now, doesn't he? Why do you think he felt better after he ate the leaf? It was good for him. You're right. It was good for him. He wasn't eating junk food, and he was actually taking care of himself, which is what we all should do. And so look at him. He's very content and he's very happy because he didn't eat everything like he did before, plus the fruit that he ate before. Now, he wasn't hungry anymore, and he wasn't a little caterpillar anymore. He was a big fat caterpillar. Let's pause here. Why do you think he was so fat? And what do you think is going to happen when he starts eating green leaves again and he stops eating as many green leaves? You think he's going to get smaller? You think he's going to feel better? Okay, I like that. Y'all are all right, but I'm going to have one more person. I'm going to call on one more person before we continue on who wants to kind of show me. Yeah, that's right. Y'all ready to move on to the next part? Me too. He built a small house called a cocoon, and let's pause right here. A cocoon, this is another vocabulary word you guys have for this week. A cocoon is a little kind of nest house-like structure that houses butterflies, caterpillars that turn into butterflies, and any sort of little bug like that that needs a home. Like you guys, you know, y'all have homes that you go to every night for your family. It's the same thing here. And so with him, he has a cocoon around himself, is what it says here. Now that we know what it means, I'm going to keep reading. He stayed inside for more than 2 weeks. Then he nibbled a hole in the cocoon, pushed his way out, and this is what a cocoon looks like. It's kind of ugly, right? It almost looks like a croissant, but it almost looks like an acorn, but also kind of a hot dog too. So however you want to picture this, you can picture this. What do you think is going to happen next? Okay, so since he was a cocoon before, and he was a caterpillar with all of that, what do you think that's gonna go? All right. And he, drum roll please, was a beautiful butterfly. I wonder why he's so pretty after eating all of that food. Do you think it's just because of, you know, what the author decided to do? Or is it just kind of a combination of the food that he was eating? Which ties back into a phrase, I don't think you guys have heard of this. It's called "you are what you eat." And it basically is very self-explanatory. It says it for itself. And so anything that you eat, goes outward. And so this is kind of a really good depiction of that. So that, my friends, is the end of our story. But before we go, I just want to let y'all know that you are important, you are loved, you are cared for. And I hope that this book helped you with sequencing, because that is going to be our next unit, is sequencing and storytelling and the process and the routine of how a story goes. So I'll see you guys next week for our lesson, and I can't wait to share more.